And I need to appeal to all of you who are in this room, who are key role players, critical role players in the realization of this decent and sustainable jobs. Can I just get rid of it? So I'm appealing to all of us here today that we should realize that whilst we're talking energy efficiency, we are not saying totally we are going to do away with all forms of making sure that we can produce. And I'm happy that I'm talking to the converted. You're saying, how do we make it possible that we get more with less? Less electricity, but still being productive. Making it possible that we create the jobs, making it possible that those poorest of the poor who are actually knocking on our doors or on our windows as we pass through the robots can be reduced on the streets. So it is important, ladies and gentlemen, that we realize that whatever we do for the benefit of the people of South Africa, and we need to be able to make it possible that we can then invest in technologies that can make it possible for us to reduce the over-reliance on electricity. Early next year, and I'm happy to indicate the Minister of Trade and Industry said it is fast-tracked, we will be introducing regulations for the built environment, for the construction industry, so that every new building in South Africa should be energy efficient. But also, over and above that, we want to make sure that for water heating, we use solar water heating. In particular, those provinces that have got lots of sun. You know, the motto of the Northern Cape used to be, don't follow the clouds, follow the sun. Today we're living true to that because you follow the sun so as to be able to use it to produce solar water heated systems. But also, we are investing in concentrated solar power. We have, through the support that we have with the Clinton Climate Initiative, done a pre-feasibility study where we're going to be putting up a solar power plant or farm in the Northern Cape, where we're going to reduce the need for so many environmental impact assessments, so many type of applications for the same piece of land or whatever, to be able to reduce the time spent in being able to access an opportunity to invest in solar power, in concentrated solar power. We've already seen through the World Bank loan in itself, an amount that has been set aside for this initiative of solar power heating. Next week, we'll be working together with the Kuha Industrial Development Zone to be able to invest in another initiatives. Those who are sitting around the wind table, we will be able to make it possible that wind is one of the renewable energy sources that we invest in. But we say that all this is going to increase the need for us to become even more energy efficient. But we're also saying, working together with the Department of Education, we're introducing energy efficiency as a life skill, so that our children, when they grow up, they should not be reminded by events of the time on saving energy, but already being alert and aware for the need to save energy, because they would be able to benefit from it. But I also want to say, there's a lot of work that government is doing. We will soon be launching Working for Energy, where we would be working together with different organizations to make sure that we can convert landfill gases to energy, but also making it possible that we can use the small streams, they call it runoff rivers, to be able to generate hydroelectricity. Because somebody said to us now the other day, remember, with hydroelectricity you don't need the water, you only need the power of the water. So those who don't want you to use the rivers for hydroelectricity must understand that the water will still be available. The only thing that we'll be using is the power of that water. But we believe that there's a lot of areas where we need to intervene. For example, we need to reduce the amount of electricity we use for heating or for ventilation. Because if we build, in terms of the new regulations, energy efficient buildings, we won't need the massive amount of electricity for ventilation when it is hot in our country. So we believe there's a lot of work that we'll be working together on and making sure that we can be able to benefit generations to come and be able to respond to the needs of our children when they call on us to say, we don't want to migrate to the moon. We want our great-grandchildren to live on Mother Earth like we are living on Mother Earth today. So whatever we do because we want to make it possible that our children can be able to benefit from the initiatives. Ladies and gentlemen, I won't complete my input without speaking about the integrated resource plan. We are in the process as a department to finalize the different platforms in which we will be engaging with different industry role players, different stakeholders, and different organizations. We want to make it possible that this integrated resource plan addresses the needs for energy or electricity in the country called South Africa. And that is why we said government cannot develop an integrated resource plan alone. We need the participation of different role players, but in particular industry. You know the amount of energy that you would need in the next 10, 20, 30 years based on your reserves, based on your own growth projections. Because if you don't participate, we would miss to plan for you, or we will overplan and have excesses that we would make the mistakes of the past. Because it is the mistakes of the past that created a situation where we delayed building the power stations because we believed we had enough. But also that mistake was correct because we had quite a lot of other areas to intervene in. For example, if the money that we had at the time were not invested in education, in health and other services like social development, where would we be? We'd be having even a bigger revolution on our hands with more than 50% of the people not having access to any form of livelihood. So I think it is important that we remember that this integrated resource plan needs to address all these forms of energy sources that we're talking about. The ruling party says we need to make sure that we diversify our energy sources. The government also says diversification of energy sources. So it is important that we put space for importation. We say importation because as South Africa, we work within the Southern African Power Pool. So what the region provides, we also need to take into consideration. But we also need to look at what is available internally in the country. What is it that we need to be able to focus on? I am on record as saying the integrated resource plan 2, as we call it, will be strong on energy efficiency. And this is the place and space that you are professionals on. And we believe with your support, we will be able to realize the target for energy efficiency within the integrated resource plan. But also, it will be strong on renewable energy. Because it is important that we honor and comply with our own long-term mitigation scenarios. If we don't do that, we will